a few days will be gone according to John. Well, now that's the revelation according to John. According to John.
I've got one more for you that I think you'll really enjoy. By the way, this is the Dayspring Trio, a group I just discovered myself, and I'll tell you what, I can't stop listening to them. Here's one more I'd like to play for you, since this is Easter coming up, and it has a lot to do with Easter, so here we go.
When it all began, it was cold and dark, no earth, no stars, and God said, let there be light. He finished the universe and then sat down, told the angels to gather around, and he smiled and said, let's watch my sunrise. When the sun rose, it was a new day, the earth rejoiced to hear God say, see how it shines. This sun of mine, creation sang hallelujah when they saw the power of Jehovah. When the sun rose, yeah, when the sun rose. Well, we crucified him and laid him in a grave. 3 days later, hope faded away. Then God said, now is the time. A mighty rumble rolled the stone away. Angels started shouting, they knew it was the day when God said, let's watch my sunrise. When the sun rose, it was a new day, the earth rejoiced to hear God say, see how it shines. This sun of mine, creation sang hallelujah when they saw the power of Jehovah. When the sun rose, yeah, when the sun rose. Death, where is your victory? Grave, where is your sting? Hallelujah. Sin and death forever conquered by Christ our King. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Up from the grave he arose with a mighty triumph for his foes. He arose. He arose. Hallelujah. Christ arose. When the sun rose, it was a new day. The earth rejoiced to hear God say, see how it shines. This sun of mine, creation sang hallelujah when they saw the power of Jehovah. When the sun rose, yeah, when the sun rose. When the sun rose.
That was just wonderful, wasn't it? I can't stop, I'll be honest with you. I'm going to do a quick reading that I hope you'll enjoy, that has to do with this Easter, which is just around the corner, when indeed, as the song just said, our God's Son rose. Just hold on just a second, please. I'm going to be reading from Matthew chapter 27. Therefore, when they had gathered together, Pilate said to them, whom do you want me to release to you, Barabbas or Jesus, who is called the Christ? For he knew that he had handed him over because of envy. While he was sitting on the judgment seat, his wife sent him, saying, "Have nothing to do with that just man, for I have suffered many things today in a dream because of him." But the chief priests and elders persuaded the multitudes that they should ask for Barabbas and destroy Jesus. The governor answered and said to them, "Which of the two do you want me to release to you?" They said, "Barabbas." Pilate said, "What then shall I do with Jesus, who is called Christ?" They all said, "Let him be crucified." Then the governor said, "Why? What evil has he done?" But they cried out all again, saying, "Let him be crucified." Pilate saw that he could not prevail at all, but rather that a tumult was rising. He took water and he washed his hands before the multitude, saying, "I'm innocent of the blood of this person. You see to it." And all the people answered and said, "His blood be on us and on our children." And I might add that it is. Then he released Barabbas to them, and when he had scourged Jesus, he delivered him to be crucified. Then the soldiers of the governor took Jesus into the praetorium and gathered the whole garrison around him. And they stripped him and put a scarlet robe on him. When they had twisted a crown of thorns, they put it on his head, and a reed in his right hand. And they bowed the knee before him and mocked him, saying, "Hail, King of the Jews!" Then they spat on him and took the reed, mind you, and struck him on the head. He had thorns on his head. The blood had to be running down over his forehead. And when they had mocked him, they took the robe off of him, put on his own clothes, and led him away to be crucified. Now as they came out, they found a man of Cyrene, Simon by name. Him they compelled to bear his cross. And when they had come to a place called Golgotha, that is to say, place of the skull, they gave him some sour wine mingled with gall, and said to drink. But when he had tasted it, he would not drink it. Then they crucified him and divided his garments, casting lots that it might be fulfilled, which was spoken by the prophet Isaiah. They divided my garments among them, and for my clothing they cast lots. Sitting down, they kept watch over him there. And they put up a sign over his head of the accusation written against him, "This is Jesus, King of the Jews." Then the two robbers were crucified with him, one on the right and the other on the left. And those who passed by blasphemed him, wagging their heads and saying, "You who destroy the temple and build it in 3 days, save yourself. If you are the Son of God, come down from that cross." Likewise the chief priests also, mocking with the scribes and elders, said, "He saved others, himself he cannot save. If he is the King of Israel, let him now come down from the cross, and we will believe him. He trusted in God. Let him deliver him now, if he will have him. For he said, 'I am the Son of God.'" Even the robbers who were crucified with him reviled him with the same thing. Now from the 6th hour until the 9th hour, there was total darkness over the land. That means all of the earth was in total darkness, as if there was an eclipse, but there was not. And about the 9th hour, 3 o'clock in the afternoon, Jesus cried out with a loud voice, saying, "Eli, Eli, lama sabachthani?" That is, my God, why have you forsaken me?" And I will tell you this, God never forsook him. But I believe God turned his head for just a moment as his son was dying. What father wouldn't? That's what I believe. Some of those stood by, and when they heard that the man is calling out to Elijah, they said. Immediately one of them ran and took a sponge, filled it with sour wine, and put it on a reed and offered it to him to drink. The rest said, "Let him alone. Let us see if Elijah will come and save him." And Jesus cried out again with a loud voice and yielded up his spirit. He was gone. Then behold, the veil of the temple was torn in two from top to bottom, as Jesus had said, and the earth quaked, and the rocks split. And the graves were opened, and many bodies of the saints who had fallen asleep were raised. And coming out of the graves after his resurrection, they went into the holy city and appeared to many. So when the centurion and those with him who were guarding Jesus saw the earthquake and the things that had happened, they feared greatly, saying, "Truly this was the Son of God." And many women who followed him from Galilee, ministering to him, were there looking on from afar, among whom was Mary Magdalene, Mary the mother of James and Joses, and mother of Zebedee's sons. Now when evening had come, there came a rich man from Arimathea named Joseph, who himself had also become a disciple of Jesus. The man went to Pilate and asked for the body of Jesus. Then Pilate commanded the body to be given to him. When Joseph had taken the body, he wrapped it in a clean cloth and laid it in his new tomb, which he had hewn out of the rock. And he rolled a large stone against the door of the tomb and departed. And Mary Magdalene was there, and the other Mary sitting opposite the tomb. On the next day, which followed the day of preparation, the chief priests and Pharisees gathered together with Pilate, saying, "Sir, remember, while he was still alive, how that deceiver said, 'After 3 days I will rise.' Therefore command that the tomb be made secure until the 3rd day, lest his disciples come by night and steal him away and say to the people, 'He has risen from the dead.' So the last deception will be worse than the first." Pilate said to them, "You have a guard. Go your way. Make it as secure as you know how." So they went, and they made the tomb secure, sealing the stone. Now after the Sabbath, at the first day of the week, which is Sunday for us, Mary Magdalene and the other Mary came to see the tomb. And behold, there was a great earthquake, for an angel of the Lord descended from heaven and came and rolled back the stone from the door and sat on it. His countenance was like lightning, his clothing was white as snow, and the guards shook for fear of him and became like dead men. But the angel answered and said to the women, "Do not be afraid, for I know that you seek Jesus, who was crucified. He is not here, for he is risen," he said. "Come, see the place that the Lord lay. And go quickly and tell his disciples that he is risen from the dead. And indeed he is going to you into Galilee. There you will see him. Behold, I have told you this." So they went out quickly from the tomb with fear and great joy, and ran to bring the disciples word. And as they went to tell the disciples, behold, Jesus met them, saying, "Rejoice." So they came and held him by the feet and worshipped him. Then Jesus said, "Do not be afraid. Go and tell my brethren to go to Galilee, and there they will see me." Now while they were going, behold, some of the guard came into the city and reported to the chief priests all the things that had happened. When they had assembled with the elders and consulted together, they gave a large sum of money to these soldiers, saying, "Tell them his disciples came at night and stole him away while we slept. And if this comes to the governor's ears, we will appease him and make you secure." So they took the money and did as they were instructed. And this saying is commonly reported among the Jews even to today. There's more to this story. Jesus alive after his crucifixion. He indeed was resurrected. He left much proof of that resurrection. And then he ascended into the clouds one day, told them he was going to be with the Father, and he was going to make many mansions, and that he would return for you and for me. Praise God. Thank you.